to the Unapologetically Me podcast with your host, Ian White, life fulfillment coach, who helps people get out of their own way so they can live the life they were meant to.
Welcome everybody to the Unapologetically Me podcast. My name's Ian White, your life fulfillment coach and the president of Coaching Deconstructed. And today, I don't even know if I'm going to release this episode, to be honest. I'm not even sure what's going to come out. But I'm really affected at the moment. I didn't follow my gut. I didn't follow my intuition today. And I decided to watch something, and it has really affected how I'm showing up today. Apparently last night there was a shooting in Las Vegas, and I heard about it when I went to the gym this morning, and I tried to tune it out. I didn't know anything really about it other than it sounded pretty horrific. But it's all over my Instagram, feed, my Facebook feed, people commenting on it, people wishing, prayers or, love to the people who are there, the people who are affected. And I caved. And I went to YouTube and I watched a video. And I watched a 2-minute video of people screaming and bullets raining down on the people in the crowd. And I knew I shouldn't watch it. I knew it wasn't good for the soul. But I watched it anyways. And then I watched another video and another video before I finally turned off my feed. And I haven't been able to think about much since. Now, there's one thing I talk about an awful lot in all the work that I do, and there's nothing more important in this world than the way that you feel. And you really need to care more about the way that you feel than your curiosity may be. That's why the news is such a poor place to go, because there's so much highlighted that is bad and that isn't wanted and that doesn't feel good. And if you're a highly sensitive person like I am, you will be affected. So you need to pay attention to your gut. And if your gut's screaming to you, don't listen, don't watch, don't watch. Because it will get to you. And it will pull you out of either what you need to do or what you need to be focused on. That said, we're human. We cave to temptation from time to time, and it can affect you. And the reason I'm sharing what I'm sharing today, and like I said, I don't even know if I'm going to air this episode, is because I think it's important for people who are going through something to share that with others, because we can all learn from it. So as disjointed as this podcast today might be, it is completely real. And it's, I think, something that a lot of people struggle with. Caving to that temptation, listening to something or watching something that isn't productive to the way that they feel. And this has happened on many occasions. And some of these occasions would have happened before I was conscious that this information and this kind of thing would affect me this way. I can remember the Columbine incident, watching a lot of coverage on that, and just being glued to a TV and being horrified. The Trade Center attack that happened. There was a shooting on Parliament Hill here in Canada, in Ottawa, not far from where I live, a couple of years ago as well. And just being engrossed by the coverage and completely being sucked in and feeling like a big pile of crap afterwards. And I think it was last year I ended up watching a documentary on O.J. Simpson and being disgusted. And I couldn't believe what they were showing on public TV. So why am I sharing this with you? Because it's not productive to pay attention to things that don't feel good. It's not productive to cave to that temptation and to listen to things or pay attention to things in your life that don't support your well-being, your happiness. You really need to think about and care more about you being happy and feeling good than anything else. Because it will affect the way that you show up with your family. It will affect the way you show up with friends. It'll affect the way you show up at work. You need to tune out the stuff that doesn't feel good. That said, when you do, because you're human and you want to be up to speed or up to date on what's going on, you need a way to recenter yourself. You need a way to bring yourself back to a decent feeling place. So I'm going to give you a kind of a list of things that I do and that I've done to help me kind of re-enter the flow, if you will, when I get thrown this far off. And maybe one of these things will resonate with you, and maybe this will help you the next time you get thrown off course by an incident like this. Actually, the first thing I did was I went for a walk outside. Tried to enjoy the nature outside. Picked some tomatoes in my garden. Ate those. Felt awesome. I wrote. I spent some time doing some automatic writing to try to empty my mind. I took a shower. One of my favorite places in the world. Take a long hot shower. Let the energy kind of wash off of me. And in a way, I had to talk myself off a ledge. I know every time that I've experienced something like this, I know it's gotten better. I know that there have been a lot of great lessons learned. And sometimes things that happen, like great tragedies that happened last night, there's often a lot of initiative and like organizations are formed and good things have come of things like this. And maybe this one will revolve kind of around getting rid of automatic weapons or things of that nature. There was actually an Esther Hicks video I was watching yesterday, or was it last night? I think it was last night. And she was talking about momentum. And you're not going to be able to stop the momentum and turn the other way on a dime. So imagine you're on a train or in a car. In order for you to stop going in the direction of not feeling good and being depressed, you need to slow down that train, that car first before you go in the other direction. So all of the things that I just mentioned are ways to start slowing down the train, to give it an opportunity to reset and to go back in the other direction. Because if you just say, stop thinking about it, it's not going to work. You're just going to think more about it and more about it and more about it. And one way that I'm actually going about this today is by sharing this with you. By basically unloading my challenge with the situation so that you can learn from it at the same time that I'm going through it. I think it's super important that people who are in a position like mine, who are in the business of helping people to live better lives, I think it's also important that we share exactly where we are, completely unapologetically who you are, with everybody. Allow them in and teach from that place. I don't think there's any more true, more vulnerable place than that. And I think people connect and appreciate with that. So this is not going to be a concise episode. It may not make a lot of sense, but I think I have to press publish when this is done, because I think it's important for people to know that it's okay that you get knocked off course. It's okay that you be tempted by something and go down a path that doesn't feel so good, but know that you can get back on course, you can get back on track. And some similar events will happen in the future, and you'll know what not to do, and you'll steer clear of it. But if you do, there are ways to slow down that train. There are ways to slow down that momentum. There are ways to do that. Take a nap. Write. Do some automatic writing. Burn that automatic writing when you're done. Release that information. Release that energy. If you're doing podcasts, release that information via podcast. Let it out. Because if you keep it inside, it's just going to fester. And like I always say, there's nothing more important than the way that you feel. So take care of yourself first. Trust that instinct. And know that you're not the only one going through this today. Take care, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the Unapologetically Me podcast with Ian White, Life Fulfillment Coach.